Hello, you are welcome to my channel. So today we are going to look at a cell under an electronic microscope. Last time we looked at a cell under a light microscope. Okay, so today we are looking at a cell under an electronic microscope. Okay, so that is what we are going to look at today. Okay, that is what we are going to focus on today. Okay, a cell under an electronic microscope. Okay, so under a light microscope we said that a cell will show you some simple structures. Okay, it will show you some simple structures about a cell, but under an electronic microscope it will show you almost all the parts. Okay, it will show you details, parts about a cell. Okay, it will show you all the detailed structures of a cell under an electronic microscope. Okay, because it will zoom everything about the cell, so you'll be able to see. So this is how it looks like. Okay, this is how it looks like under an electronic microscope. Okay, so now let's talk about these parts. Okay, so you already know the other parts that I told you in the last video, in the last lesson. So these are the parts under an electron microscope. Okay, an electronic microscope. Okay, so if you look at this one, this part, this outer part, okay, this is a plant cell. Okay, this is a plant cell. Okay, this is a plant cell itself. This whole cell, it's a plant cell, but it's under an electronic microscope. Okay, so there are these parts which are here. So you already know that the outer part, it is the cell wall. Okay, it is the cell wall, and I talked about what the function is for the cell wall. Okay, I talked about it, but for the sake of those that didn't watch that previous video, I'll talk about it. Okay, so this cell wall, okay, this outer part, you remember I said that its function, it gives the cell a shape. Okay, it gives the cell a shape. Not only that, okay, but it is made up of what we call cellulose. Okay, it is made up of what we call cellulose. Okay, cellulose, like that, cellulose. So this cellulose, it is very strong. Okay, it is very, very strong cellulose. Let me use a black marker. It is made up of what? Of cellulose. Okay, cellulose, this, it is very strong. This cellulose, it is the one that makes it to be strong. If you see the outer part of the plant, is very strong because it contains what? Cellulose. It is made of cellulose. Okay, so this cellulose, it is used to protect the cell against damages. Okay, so there are a lot of damages that can be caused, and this is responsible for protecting it. Okay, and the other thing is that it also protects this cell from bursting. Okay, it protects this cell from bursting when this cell gains a lot of water. So a plant cell will not burst when it gets a lot of water. That you should know. Because of what? Of cellulose. It won't burst when it gets a lot of water, when it gains a lot of water, or should I say when it absorbs a lot of water. It will just increase in shape. Okay, it will just increase in shape. So it is different from an animal cell, because an animal cell doesn't have the cell wall. Okay, an animal cell doesn't have a cell wall, meaning that it doesn't have what? It doesn't have cellulose. So an animal cell, when it gains a lot of water, it will burst. Okay, we'll give an example of a red blood cell. So when a red blood cell gets a lot of water, or should I say a lot of substances in it, it will burst. It will increase in shape and it will also burst. Because of what? Because it doesn't have cellulose. Okay, so cellulose is responsible for protecting this cell from any damage and also from bursting. So this cell won't burst because of what? Because of cellulose, which is present in the cell wall. Okay, so that is what it is about the cell wall. And the other thing that you should know about the cell wall is that it is permeable to everything. Okay, so what do I mean when I say it is permeable to all substances? It is permeable to all substances, meaning that it allows all the substances, okay, to enter the cell and leave the cell. Okay, it is permeable, meaning that it allows all the substances to enter and leave the cell. They will enter and leave the cell. So this cell, it will allow them, okay, no matter what particles they have. So it will allow them, but they will enter. They will enter the cell. So they will only remain in here, okay. They will enter. They will be here. Okay, those substances, they will enter. All the substances that you may think of, they will enter. They will reach here. They will reach here and they will find this other part which is inside. So this other part, we call it the cell membrane. Okay, the cell what? Cell membrane. Like I said in the previous video, this is the cell membrane. Okay, so this is the part that is selective. Okay, it is called a selective permeable membrane. It is called a selective permeable membrane. Okay, selective, the word selective. Okay, selective. It comes from the word select, meaning that this part, it is the one that selects which substances enter or leave the cell. Okay, so it doesn't matter this part, this cell, it will allow all the substances that will enter, but this part which is inside, this part which is the cell membrane, it won't allow that. Okay, it will allow just other substances which have smaller particles to pass through it to enter this cell inside, to enter the inner part of the cell. So this is selectively permeable membrane. That is the name. It is called a selectively permeable membrane because it actually chooses which substances should enter or leave the cell. So now, what are those substances that can enter and leave the cell? What are those which this part allows? Okay, what are those substances which the cell membrane allow? Okay, so let me start with what it is made of. Okay, so you might be asked questions to say, what is the cell membrane made of? Okay, what was it made of? So the cell membrane itself, it was made of what? Proteins. It is made of proteins. Okay, proteins and lipids. Proteins and lipids. That is what it is made of. Okay, so the cell membrane, it is made of what? The proteins as well as what? The lipids. That is what the cell membrane, it is made of. Okay, so I said it is responsible for controlling which substances should enter or leave the cell. That is what is the function of the cell membrane. I hope you are getting the point there. I hope you are getting the point. So there are some substances that move in, that go into and out of the cell freely. Okay, and those substances, they are gases. So the gases can actually enter this cell membrane and leaves the cell membrane. They can enter and go even inside. Okay, because they have smaller particles. They have smaller what? Smaller particles than any other substances. Smaller particles. okay, or should I say smaller molecules. So the gases like oxygen, okay, oxygen, carbon dioxide, so those they enter this cell and leaves the cell, okay. And also there is another substance that enters and leaves the cell without any restrictions, which is water. Water can enter this, okay, can enter through the cell membrane and come out through the same membrane without any restrictions. So because water, it is doesn't have a large molecules, it has smaller molecules as well, okay. So there are substances that are restricted from entering. So an example that we can give, there is urea. So urea can't pass through the cell membrane because urea has large molecules, okay, or large particles, okay. I hope you have gotten that about the cell membrane and the cell wall, okay, the cell membrane and the cell wall. So let's talk about these other parts. Let's talk about these other parts. Okay, so there is what we call the nucleus. You know the nucleus. This is the nucleus. But don't forget that the nucleus itself, it has parts. Okay, the nucleus, it has what? It has parts. Before you reach the nucleus, there are some other parts that you might find before you reach the what? The nucleus. So this is the nucleus inside here. In red, that is the what? The nucleus. Okay, and I said that the nucleus, it is the one that is responsible for all the activities that take place inside the cell. It controls all the activities. That is the function of this. It is in charge of controlling all the activities, everything that is taking place inside the cell. Okay, so that is what the nucleus is made to do. Okay, so the other thing is that the nucleus, it stores genetic information on the threads of DNA, okay, on the threads of DNA. So it stores genetic information, okay, it stores genetic information on the threads of DNA. So those threads of DNA, they are called chromosomes, okay. So you go deeper when you understand better when you will be talking about chromosomes, what chromosomes are and the like. So this, it stores the information on the threads of DNA, genetic information to be specific, on the threads of DNA called chromosomes, okay. So this nucleus, it is surrounded, okay. So these ones you are seeing here, these ones that you are seeing here, they are the ones that are surrounding the nucleus, okay. So they are called the nuclear membrane. So this is the nuclear what? Nuclear membrane. We said that this is the what? The cell membrane, okay. So even the nucleus has a what? As a membrane called what? A nuclear membrane. It is called a nuclear membrane. So this part, it is called a nuclear, I don't know if it's like this, nuclear membrane, but I'm sure that is the spelling. This is membrane, okay, nuclear membrane, okay. This is the nuclear membrane. So the cell, the nucleus, it is protected by the nuclear membrane. So these are the parts that I'm talking about, the parts of the nucleus. So these are the parts of the nucleus. So there is a nuclear membrane, and then here there is a space here, okay. Let me use a blue marker. So this space here, this space, that space, I'm sure you're able to see it, this space here, just this space in between the nuclear membrane. Or let me remove one, and I should say this is a space here, okay. So it is called the nuclear pore, the nuclear pore, okay, nuclear pore. That is what it is. This part you might be told to name it. So it is what? The nuclear pore of the nucleus, okay. So inside the nucleus, okay, inside the nucleus here, there is what we call nucleoplasm, okay. Nucleoplasm, it is actually a liquid, Okay, it is a liquid. It is a liquid where this nucleus flows. Okay, it floats in the liquid. So this which is inside, it is the liquid inside. Okay, so the liquid, let me just do it with a blue pen, I mean a red. So this liquid inside the nucleus, like this, it is nucleoplasm. You know plasm meaning, it means fluid. Plasm, it means fluid. So the fluid in which the nucleus floats, it is what we call plasm. Okay, or I mean nucleoplasm. Okay, nucleoplasm. All right, so this is the nucleus itself. That is the nucleus itself. Okay, so that is all about the nucleus. I'm sure you're able to understand about a nucleus. What is the other thing that we are going to talk about? So let's talk about cytoplasm. We said cytoplasm is inside here. So but under so you might think that this is cytoplasm, but no, it is not cytoplasm. This, okay, it is not cytoplasm. So cytoplasm, you can't see it under what? Under an electronic microscope. Okay, so you can't see it. Cytoplasm, I said, it is a jelly-like fluid made of water and dissolved substances such as proteins, sugars, and salts. Okay, so that is what cytoplasm is. Okay, so that is what cytoplasm is. Okay, so the function of cytoplasm, it is just a fluid. Okay, it is a fluid inside the cell. It is a fluid inside the cell. It actually gives the cell a shape. You know, when you get a plastic, you put some water in, and it will give it a shape. It will give a plastic a shape. Okay, so that is what cytoplasm does. So it gives the shape and also protects these parts of the inside parts of the cell. Okay, whenever anything happens to a cell, like for instance, let's say an animal cell bursts into anything, okay, bashes into anything, or a plant cell bashes into anything, or hits into anything. So these parts, they will be saved by the fluid. Okay, by the fluid. Okay, so that is what it does. I'm sure you're able to understand about that. So there is this red here. There is this red part of the cell. It is called what? Mitochondrion. Okay, mitochondrion. Okay, so that is what it is called. Then in plural, they are called what? Mitochondria. So now, what is that which this thing is about? Okay, what does it do? So this is a part that is responsible for what? For respiration. So in here, that is where respiration takes place. Okay, it is responsible for what? For respiration. Okay, and for that, it is called the powerhouse. You know, respiration is all about energy. Okay, it is all about energy. So the power, we call it what? The power that this part is responsible of, it is what? The energy. Okay, so energy is the one that is involved in what? In respiration. Okay, so for that reason, this part, this mitochondrion, it is also called the powerhouse. The powerhouse. Okay, so the other name that you can use to call this mitochondrion, it is called the powerhouse. It looks like this. Okay, it looks like this, like that. Okay, it is a rod shaped actually, or should I say a sausage shaped, okay, structure, and it is responsible for respiration. Okay, so that is what it is. So the thing is that it is called the powerhouse, In plural they are called mitochondria, singular mitochondrion. Okay, so that is what it is all about, this part. Okay, so there are these which are inside. These you are able to see these. Okay, these that you are able to see in blue, these ones. So these ones, they are called what? They are called ribosomes. Okay, they are called ribosomes, like that. Okay, they are called what? They are called ribosomes. So these are small round structures in the cell where protein synthesis takes place. What do I mean by protein synthesis? What do I mean by protein synthesis? So to synthesize is actually to manufacture, okay, or to make proteins, to make, okay, to make. So in the ribosomes, that is where proteins, they are made. That is where proteins are made. So that is what I'm saying, that protein synthesis. Okay, so this is where protein synthesis takes place. Okay, in the ribosomes. In these, this is where protein synthesis takes place. So that is where proteins are made. Okay, the proteins are made from inside the what? The ribosomes. Okay, so they are made inside the ribosomes. So that is where proteins are made. So in biology we don't say made, something like that. Okay, so we say that is where protein synthesis takes place. Okay, so to synthesize, I said, is to make proteins, okay, so that is what these do. Okay, so they actually float or they move freely in the what? In the cytoplasm, since there is a liquid inside. So these, they actually move in the what? In the cytoplasm, like that. Okay, so they float freely in the cytoplasm, while others are attracted to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So if you see this part here, so these, they are ribosomes. Okay, these, they are ribosomes. They are attracted. There are some which just flow freely, okay, in the cytoplasm. We said that there is a cytoplasm, there is a fluid inside. Okay, so there are others which are what? Are attracted to this part here. Okay, so this part here, it is called the what? The endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum, like that. That is what it is called, this part. Okay, so these, they are attracted to this part here. So now, what is the reason to that? So in your mind, you should know that these parts, these they contain what? They contain proteins. Okay, so when proteins are made, they come to this part here. When the proteins are made, they come to this, which is called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Why is it called the rough? So there is a smooth. So this one is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The reason is that this it has these ribosomes. Okay, it is attracted to ribosomes, and they are everywhere like that. So it is called what? A rough endoplasmic reticulum. So I should say it is a rough endoplasmic reticulum. But this one, it is the what? The smooth. Okay, it is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So this one, which is a rough endoplasmic reticulum, its function is to transfer these proteins. Okay, is to transfer proteins. If you remember very well, I said that these ribosomes, this is where protein synthesis takes place. This is where proteins are made. Okay, so when they are made, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, it transfers them from the place of synthesis to the place where they are supposed to be used. Okay, so when the proteins are made, they come to this rough endoplasmic reticulum, and when they are made, when they are made, okay, this rough endoplasmic reticulum, it transfers them from the place of what? Of synthesis, or from the place where they are made to the place where they are supposed to be used. So this is the function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. That is what it is. Okay, so I said that this is made of what? The cell membrane, it is made of what? Of the proteins and the lipids. Okay, the proteins and the lipids. So the proteins here on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, it is the rough, it transfers them from the place of synthesis to the place of usage. Okay, so now what does this do? What does this do? The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, if you see it here, it doesn't have those ribosomes. Okay, so now what does it do? So this part, this smooth endoplasmic reticulum, its function is to transfer what? Lipids. Okay, is to transfer what? Lipids. That is the function. This one is to transfer what? Proteins. The rough transfers proteins. Okay, so that is what these do. Okay, so there is this pack here, this pack. Okay, this pack. So this pack, it has this shaped like this. These are what we call Golgi bodies. Okay, we call Golgi bodies, like that. Bodies, Golgi bodies. Okay, so these are a pie of flattened vesicles. Okay, vesicles which modify and carry proteins such as enzymes. So they carry enzymes, these ones. Okay, so the way they are, they shape, they carry enzymes from the sites of what? Of synthesis to the sites of reactions. So these, their functions is to carry what? Enzymes. Okay, I'm sure you did enzymes, you know what enzymes are. So they carry enzymes from the place of what? Of synthesis. So from the place of synthesis, synthesis, I've said, it is just making, or should I say manufacture. So when the enzymes are manufactured, they are carried by the what? The Golgi bodies. Okay, they are carried by the what? The Golgi bodies, from the place where they are manufactured to the place where they are supposed to react. The functions of proteins, of the enzymes, to react with some substances. Okay, that is what these Golgi bodies do. So one singular, it is called a Golgi body, but the way they are as a pack, they are called Golgi bodies. Okay, so that is what these do. Okay, so if you look at these, okay, so if you look at these ones, I talked about them in the previous video. So these are what we call the chloroplasts. Okay, so the chloroplasts, you know that they contain the green pigment. Okay, the green pigment inside them. This is where photosynthesis takes place. Okay, so that green pigment actually attracts sunlight, okay, on a plant. So this is where that green pigment is found, okay, in the chloroplast. So it is those that green pigment which is responsible for photosynthesis. So this green pigment, it gives the color of the plant. So that is the reason why the plant looks green. Okay, it gives the color, the plant, and also attracts sunlight for the process of what? Photosynthesis to take place. Okay, so we actually even talked about the vacuole in the previous video. I said that the vacuole, it actually stores cell sap. Okay, it stores cell sap. Cell sap is just a combination of sugars and salts, just like that. So this is what it does. It stores cell sap. Okay, what else didn't I talk about? Actually, we have talked about everything. So make sure that you finish this video, understand everything. You can even ask questions if you want. Okay, you can ask questions if you want. So you can ask questions on WhatsApp if you want. So this is my number, 0975334778. Okay, I'm Tutor Patrick Divine. Thank you for watching. This is what I had for you.